We were even competing with TikTok. We were growing at the scale of, I would say, 220, 250,000 downloads every single day. If you want to build extraordinary company, you have to stop thinking about work-life balance. There is no such thing like work-life balance. Work-life balance is just for an employee. They have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
And they're gonna conduct this 15 minutes call. It doesn't have any fucking value. Here in Poland, we can definitely build another unicorn, the best of the best. I used to call them like warriors or like Armageddon team.
Dzień dobry Państwu. Today I'm joined by Marek, a brilliant Polish mind who co-built Flip, a social e-commerce startup in Silicon Valley. It quickly became a unicorn. It reached the 1 billion valuation, and now he's in Poland working on his new startup called JobRef. Marek, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
What's the story behind Flip? How did you get into this startup?
The whole idea of having Flip and starting Flip was born back in 2019, and the company initially was founded by Noor and another chap called Jonathan, who were the founding team members, if you will, or funders. And I was the founding team member, creating from scratch the whole development team and the engineering team from day one. And so the story behind that is that we met with Noor before that, obviously, like I think approximately 2 years before that. And the Flip was a continuation of some other businesses that Noor and I was funding, if you will. And so the company was initially headquartered in LA. The whole engineering team and the heart of Flip was in Poland. At the time, I was like in Poland for almost like a year or so, and then I was traveling a lot heavily from time to time to LA and San Francisco to visit our operational team. It was a social commerce app, although we were starting as a as a beauty company, if you will, selling beauty products. And it was done in a way whereby you were basically purchasing something from Flip, and then you as a customer, you were able to post a video post of a review of the product that you purchased in order to persuade other buyers, other community members to buy the same product. And then over time, over the next years, it became something more than purely sort of a social commerce app based on the beauty products, and it evolved to a social commerce that is capable to sell anything. And there were also other functionalities chunks within Flip that was highly engaging creators to post more content. And ultimately, back in I think 2025, turned out we were even competing with TikTok.
How did it happen? You were competing with TikTok.
In 2024, as you know, TikTok was supposedly leaving the US market. And so in January or February in 2025, we had this momentum whereby a lot of people were talking about leaving TikTok and basically do something against the government in the US and also the TikTok, but mainly obviously the government. And so they called themselves as TikTok refugees. And so ultimately they decided to switch to another platform, and we had our prime time because they chosen Flip along with another Chinese app. At the time it was Red Note. And at the time, back in January, we were picking, like we've been getting a lot of app downloads and new user registrations. And it was not the first time for us, but at the time we were growing at the scale of, I would say, 220, 250,000 downloads every single day for like straight 2 weeks. So that was indeed our prime time and sort of motivation to indeed persuade more people to join the community.
Yeah, so you were the CTO of that company, and you're the one who brought in the Polish engineers that helped build this platform.
Yeah.
How did you manage to bring more than 150 highly skilled Polish engineers to Silicon Valley?
Sure. Okay. Right. That's a good question. Like, no one really knows that for like quite some time, since 2024, we were a unicorn, but no one really knew in Poland about Flip as a company. And there was only one article because we tried to be sort of quiet about it in Poland. But the reality is, yes, the whole engineering sort of department of Flip, literally like every engineer who who was responsible for building the technology side of Flip was based in Poland. And how we've done it is, it wasn't simple, because from day one I tried to persuade brilliant developers to work with me, but we were unstructured. There was a lot of chaos. We had already Jira, but we were not like that organized as other mature businesses. And so I think we managed to persuade a lot more and more really brilliant developers, people that we worked with over time. And I think on year 2 or year 3, we became really stable. At the time, I think we were a team of 60 maybe engineers. Like, I'm talking about the front-end, back-end engineers, DevOps engineers, business analysts, etc. But vast majority of our team members were purely engineers. And I think after year 3, we started scaling aggressively. So I think between year 3 and year 5, we grew up to 120, 150, and the ultimate peak was 150, 155 engineers on my team. And yes, I have to agree with you, like that. It's not even about the scale. I think it's about the fact that we built a team of really competent people that actually were able to grow their career. And also we faced a lot of challenges ahead of us in terms of scaling the application to the level whereby no one from our team never actually saw before. So we had to actually learn as we go, because literally no one from our team was able to actually work at the same scale in terms of the volume of users and the volume of products beforehand.
And what it takes in order to scale that kind of engineering team, in order to make them all work together?
It's a kind of learning curve, but I think what we built is like a sort of a kind of a little family, if you will, of the engineers. So family in a sense whereby people could actually rely on each other. We obviously everyone had their own competences and experience and some domain knowledge, if you will, but ultimately it was all about to basically rely on each other in a sense of if there were a lot of emergency situations, because we were managing a product that was used by the American users, American customers. And so as a result, in Poland and New York and LA, we were like 6 up to 9 hours ahead of them. And so as a result, many times during the high peak of the high peaks, like during the days whereby people were using the app mostly, were actually nights in Poland. And so whenever we had any incidents, it was in the middle of the night. And so I think over time we realized we had to take care of building ideal relationships between the team members and also 3 teams responsible for specific domains in order to make it stable company. And we also, I have to admit that we are actually lived the dream that we're gonna become a $100 billion company. I think we definitely were right in terms of the growth and the predictions. we knew we are growing. We knew that we are very close to become a unicorn, and we're very close to become actually something way more than unicorn. And we're building solid community. And so I knew that it's going to be very easy to convince the best of the best engineers and the closest directors to work along with me and to put a lot of efforts, even though we had to wake up in the middle of the night. But it was very clear for us the path where we're heading. We believed that we're gonna become something way more bigger than unicorn, and that's why our relationship. Not only competences and experience, which no doubt we had a very good, we were very good at, but more than that, it was the relationship that we built between each other. So the fact that we could actually rely on each other, and you were feeling as you would be part of a family, if you will.
Exactly, like an international family. What made you choose, let's say, Polish engineers? Okay, I know that you're Polish, but what made you choose like Polish engineers instead of, let's say, Indians or some others from the, let's say, Asia, especially if you compare the labor cost?
Sure. Okay, fine. That's a good question. And as a matter of fact, we were not only built out of engineers from Poland. The vast majority of the engineers were in Poland, but we also had a lot of people from Ukraine, Belarus. We also had several members from China in Shanghai, a few members in New York. So basically, one of my most important members, the VP of engineering, he's Ukrainian, and Maxim, and he's an absolutely amazing, brilliant guy. One of our key members from on the QA side, on the automation QA side, Palina, she was from Belarus. So all of these members were absolutely amazing. So no matter from which country you're coming from. And then finally, at some point, we opened up to machine learning engineers, because we were also developing our own model. And the chap that we actually found, who we hired and persuaded to step into to join us at Flip, his name is Rafan Ding. He was the guy responsible at for the e-commerce at TikTok in US, and basically we brought him to our team, and then later on, within a couple of months, we hired 10 or 15 more members in China, because the best machine learning engineers and data scientists apparently are based. They're Chinese, and so basically it was a kind of international team at the time. But so the team was not only formed out of Polish engineers. There were a lot of other people from other nations, which we were really grateful for, and they were doing amazing, extraordinary job.
Looking back at it right now, what do you think Flip had made great decisions in, and what it made worse decision? Because in 2000, I think it collapsed last year.
Yeah.
So looking back at it right now, what kind of decisions that were right and what kind of decisions that were wrong at that time, looking back at it?
Generally speaking, the great decision that we've made is that from day one, we were building a solid community of the customers that were enjoying buying beauty products. And we should actually stay in that niche, and we should further develop that niche, because we were ultimately competing with maybe bigger brands, not necessarily online, but it was online shopping. We also had this sort of live shows, if you will. So customers were able to actually sell on live shows. And in today's market, there are quite a few competitors who only live out of live shopping. And in Japan, or still in States, these specific brands are growing like crazy. And plus we had this video shorts, video posts, reviews of the beauty products. And in my view, we should further develop and focus on that niche and slowly go to other categories. sometime in, I think, 2023, 2024, my partner decided to acquire more brands and basically grow more aggressively. So we scaled the whole up into a whole variety of products across all categories. And so I remember at some point, and also we switched to basically third-party logistics. So basically brands were able to ship their goods on their own, which was actually a good move, but not necessarily the moment that we started selling pretty much everything. So I think customers were a bit lost. But also over time, we were switching more and more functionalities. So we also had stories from Instagram, if you will. We had, like gifts. So you were able to actually send a gift even to a stranger or basically to anyone, like a gift to a phone number. So you can or basically acquire people to not necessarily acquire, but like convince new community members to join Flip platform and create their profile and basically add to the wish list the products that you'd love to get on birthday or whatever other day, and basically other friends were able to send you a gift that you desired. So that was a cool idea. But over time, my partner was sort of switching on and on more functionalities, more features like that. And I think ultimately in 2025, some of the people may felt like a bit lost because it was a combination of social shopping, of the experience as you would have on TikTok or Instagram, creating content and getting paid for it, and various of other functionalities. So there were too many things to engage with, and ultimately it wasn't very clear where we're heading, where we're going. And I think that was one of the things that, in my view, took us to the end of holiday, end of summer holiday in 2025, when the whole company collapsed.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. It's better to always niche down, because otherwise you're gonna confuse the consumers. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with our video channel. Like we only focus on one thing. I could do like fitness, I could do like travel stuff, but it's better to focus on one thing and make it perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's one of the mistakes of Flip, because you saw rapid growth, and with rapid growth, you kind of want to like invest in more and more. Do you think that's the problem?
I couldn't agree with you more. As a matter of fact, like it's not only myself, but also us as the engineering team. We were noticing it. Like we were confused by the decisions taken by my partner, but ultimately he's the CEO, he's the chief executive officer, so he decides what he wants to pursue with. Like if he thinks that this is the right decision, we have to support him. So we had a full respect to him. It's like I still respect his decisions, whether I agreed with them, no, whether I actually said to him directly, like I'm not convinced by doing that, yes, I did. But ultimately, like, you're limited to what you can say. Like, yes, we were partners, but I was not sometimes either happy or whatever with the decision taken by him. But I'm what I can say though is that like apart from what happened, I have to admit that myself and my team, we learned a lot of new things, and that's something that no one will be able to take out from us. Like will be able to take in it because that's what we learned. Like our sort of the learning curve, our learning and what we learned from the scaling the company to such a big scale, and brilliant relationships, the right competences and experiences we gained over time. That's something that no one would be ever able to take away from us. But yeah, it is what it is. Like, I'm grateful that I was part of it, and I was very close part of it. Like, yeah, but it is what it is.
I mean, to be honest, if the CTO doesn't know what's going on or why, like, the CEO is making this kind of decisions, I think it will be hard for the other team to follow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking about being CTO, can you walk me through how, like, a typical day in your life when you were working at Flip? How was the schedule? How was the work?
It was changing over time, because at the beginning you are like more hands-on CTO, and then over time, when you scale the whole company and acquiring more engineers, you then realize you have to be less hands-on, and you have to be more like you have to provide some leadership sort of abilities to be able to delegate tasks to people, to be able to work with them, and so on. So I think every year was different. Like year 1 and year 2 was fighting with myself and people why you leave the company, because the company was unstructured. Like the people were not satisfied with the chaos which we had in the company, and sometimes not because of us. It was because of the way how the CEO is managing the company. But on the other hand, though, like I have to admit, like Nur at the time was doing his best, because we wanted to actually learn, like grow fast. So like I agree. I would agree with him. Like unfortunately, you have to change your mind quite often, and you have to do things that other people are not feeling comfortable with. It is what it is, yeah? So you kind of, I would compare myself at the early stage to a screwdriver. Like, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do cleaning, you have to do pretty much anything, yeah? You're gonna be asked for. But then over time, you have to develop and stabilize the company and the growth in a sense of like, you're going to have to convince these people to stay with you on the same boat. And you have to make sure that it's going to be comfortable environment to work in. And so the typical day of my life, the best way to describe it is like I'm on the phone on Slack calls pretty much all day. So I talk to my VP of engineering. I talk to my directors. I talk to developers. If I have something specific, of course, I've been delegating to various members of staff, but ultimately, if there were some important projects or developments or deployments, even though we were not doing it that often, but we were doing it on Friday, deployments to production. I was the one that was not only sort of working directly with the director within the specific department, but also specific developers to make sure that it's going to be delivered. And so sometimes I was like, I had no issue with it, like to speak with the appropriate leader of the team leader or director or even VP of engineering, or if this was necessary to directly with developer. So every day was like communication, because to me, communication is king. If you lack communicating with your team, then you're not gonna get there where you're heading. So it is a matter of staying in touch with the people all the time, because they need you. They need a leader to basically guide them. They need a leader from time to time to basically tell them good words about the work, etc. So we were not even conducting that often any sort of regular calls of like, how do you feel at the company? Are you satisfied, etc. Because we had a lot of occasions to basically speak with the team members, even specific engineers, to make sure that they will not only deliver, but they also gonna feel comfortable at work.
Do you think if you opened the same company in Poland, it would reach billions if Flip was startup in Poland at that time?
Yes, I think examples of brilliant companies in Poland is 11 Labs, and I really admire what they do, and this is absolutely amazing what they've done in a relatively short period of time. And as a matter of fact, they actually prove that they do things much better than us beforehand. And yes, I have a strong belief, and I'm very confident about that here in Poland, we can definitely build another unicorn. As a matter of fact, I want to build another unicorn. I proved that once, and of course, it was not me specifically. I worked with a team, and I always was sort of highlighting it, like emphasizing the fact that whatever we build as a team. And even though at Flip I was unable to maintain and run the product by myself, and I had to rely on another person who actually led this product. But ultimately, yes, I was part of it, and I have a big appetite to build another unicorn. I don't know whether it's going to be my new venture, JobRef, but I'm confident. I'm very confident we will build another unicorn and much bigger company, definitely. And with the team and the relationships I have still with the Flip members, a lot of Flip members, I am super confident we're gonna do it once again. It's just gonna be a matter of time, and I don't really think it's gonna be a matter of like the next 10 years. I think the next unicorn out of myself and the team, it's just a matter of the next maybe 2, 3, 4 years, and no doubt whether it's going to be this or another company, but we're going to make it happen.
It's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah, I think it's a matter. I tell you what though, like it's a matter of time, a matter of who you are and who you are and what you do. Like, like as a founder, you kind of, Elon Musk said that once, that staring at abyss, you eating glass, something like that. And I kind of, feel this way every day as a founder, because when you wake up, you're either exhausted or you're feeling super, super great. And then during the day, you have to still sort of convince your other team members who you're not necessarily even paying, and to actually carry on and push the boundaries and and deploy things and improve the product and so on. But I tell you what though, it's definitely feasible to build out of Poland a great product. It's definitely feasible to build. It doesn't really matter whether I think even, to be honest, I think even we have higher chances of building something extraordinary as Polish engineers, not necessarily out of Poland. Maybe engineering side, yes. Operational side, I think it would need to be America or UK.
Why do you think that?
Because of the restrictions from the European government, European Union overall, it's a bit harder to build a company from a tax standpoint of view, running the business, and a lot of other things. I think all of my businesses that I was running were based in UK, and my last business, Flip, our business as a company was in US. And even though it's a very competitive market, but from a sort of legal standpoint of view, starting a company in US or UK and tax standpoint of view is much easier than here in Poland.
Really?
Yes.
So my question is, why did you come back to Poland then?
Well,
especially as a startup founder.
Yeah, sure. So at Flip, I was in Poland. I was in Poland, through almost 6 years at Flip. But indeed, I had I moved to to LA for some relatively short period of time, and then moved back because I realized the only way to actually keep going and maintaining the brilliant relationship, or building a solid product, is to have a solid relationship with your developers. You can't maintain it over distance of 9 hours difference. It is nearly impossible. And so the leader has to unfortunately stay within the same time zone. At least it doesn't need to be the same location, but needs to be the same time zone. At Flip, actually, we worked as remotely before remote was even famous, before COVID. So we were already like remote first company. And a lot of similar businesses here in Poznań or Warsaw, they were also remote businesses. But the thing is that yes, you can actually have the engineering team in let's say Poland, and the operational team ideally in a different market, ideally in the same time zone. And I think that's why we were succeeding with Flip from the engineering perspective, because all of us, we were focused and we were able to actually talk to each other, communicate with each other, staying here in the same time zone. And yes, we worked remotely, but office was not really required. Over time, I think the first office actually we had in the year 3 or 3.5. Imagine, like, for 3.5 years
remote.
we were remote, and then even though we had an office in Warsaw, the people were actually coming every single week. There was a catch up of each individual team, and they were coming, gathering. So we could actually grab a coffee. We could work from the same location. Basically, the main point of it was only to make our collaboration even closer, the relationship. So the folks from the team, they could actually get to know each other much deeper, much better. And as a result of it, after Flip collapsed, vast majority, like I think over 100 members, moved to Discord channel, and they still communicate with each other, and they still stay in touch, which I'm really grateful for, and I'm pretty sure they also actually maintain further some relationships between each other.
Do you maintain these relationships with all your past employees, or
from from the engineering team? Yes, definitely. We were too far away from the operational side, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, because I saw one of your posts on LinkedIn when you posted your website about JobRef,
Yeah.
and then there were some QA engineers like commenting there, you made this mistake, you did this, and then you said that's the good thing about having QA engineers as
Yes.
as
Yes.
friends
Well,
here.
I tell you what, though, I know who you're talking about. Whether I felt okay with it, not really, because that person could actually send me a message, not necessarily publicly post a comment. But I tell you what, though, listen, as a CTO, I've been hiring a lot of people, and this is why I actually came up with JobRef idea, because I was the only person that actually was hiring directly all of the members. Like imagine 150 members, yeah, and I had no single HR person, not a single recruiter, no sourcer.
Wow.
I was using LinkedIn Recruiter to reach out to people. And then when we were actually at the scale of a little bit over 80, the referrals came to table, and so people were referring each other, and so it was easier for me to actually get to know some new members of the team this way. But essentially, generally speaking, vast majority of the team members I actually hired myself. I was not using recruitment agencies, etc. As a result, within 6 years, we saved, I think, $2.5 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just because you did it. The CTO went there and hunted for the talent.
If you take average salary of the engineer is 20, 25, 30,000 zloty, let's say even 18, 20, we were paying good salaries. And so if I would be taking a recruiter, headhunter, recruitment agency, they charge between 1-2 months up to 20-25% of the annual salary per developer. So if you're gonna do the math and take, let's say, the 20 on average 20 even 20,000 or 25,000 zloty and multiplied by 150 plus multiplied by 2, because essentially I think between over that threshold of 6 years we hired, I think, over 300 people, but 150
Wow.
actually presumably left. You basically get rid of, you fire someone because he's not good at work. You basically, people were leaving very often at the beginning, very often, because we were like 15 people at the beginning. On the first few months of Flip, we were maybe 10, 12 people, completely unorganized. We knew where we were heading, but people were coming and leaving. So if I would be taking, the recruiter from day one for every hire, we would actually spend imagine 20, 25, 22, 25,000 zloty multiplied by 300 people.
Wow. So now I see why you came up with your startup, JobRef.
Yes.
And you're constantly saying the resume is dead, or can you tell me more about?
Yeah, sure. Before I'm gonna jump into JobRef topic, let me just say that my dream, my dream at Noor was always to build a great company and big company. We were not thinking about the valuation of the business. We were only thinking we want to build, we want to change the world. If you are in Silicon Valley, back in 2019, everyone, whoever, any VC that who heard from Noor or anyone else, oh yeah, you want to change the world. How you want to change the world? Well, we want to beat Amazon at the time. How you want to beat Amazon? We want to actually change the shopping experience. We want people to actually buy from the video with reviews, and we have a strong belief that actually people will start using it. And this is how he raised the seed round, 3.8 million at the time. And I have to admit, that was a brilliant idea, and it is in my sort of memory, it's still a great idea. But I think my dream was always to actually indeed change the world. But then I started asking myself at year 5 or 6, when the only sort of the only focus was, okay, how do we do with AI to persuade people to stay longer in the app and start, continue posting, as TikTok does. Yeah,
Retention,
retain clients, but also it's not only retaining clients. It's about how do I convince my users, my community, to stay in the app for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And then you realize, and then you think of does it really change the world? Does it change the world that my 10-year-old daughter, or if she's gonna be 15-year-old daughter, she's using Flip app daily, and actually the algos that we create keeps her in the app for half an hour. Do I feel great about it? Do I feel
some sense of achievement? Or?
Yeah, then do I think it changes the world? Well, I think it changes the world, but in a bad way. Basically, that led me to thinking of a great idea like JobRef. JobRef essentially it goes along with what I've been doing for the past 6 years. I've been recruiting. I've been in the recruitment, and I know that the recruitment was really expensive and so on. So the first idea in my head was, okay, how do I make recruitment different? Because you look at job boards from Just Join IT, No Fluff Jobs in Poland, Indeed, LinkedIn, and so on. And you say, okay, fine. Well, but listen, hang on. They charge few $100, pounds or zlotys to post a job ad, and all of these candidates goes to the job, they apply for a job, and so on. And I was kind of under a great good impression of my team members who were recommending people to me, and I was paying them for the referral. So that was called internal referrals. And then I came to the conclusion, how about if I'm going to build a website and then convince convince the employers to post their job ads on our website, on JobRef, and then we're gonna advertise, every job ad will be like with a button, refer for like $500 or refer someone for $3,500, etc. Because I wanted to actually, build a solution that is a sort of that is similar to the way how recruiters work. Recruiters or headhunters, they take the monthly 2 month salary of the successful hire, and they apply that charge against the employer. So I said, okay, fine. So I'm going to build that, fine. And that was, after, and then we realized after like a couple of months, okay, it's going to be like a chicken and egg problem.
Yeah.
So you basically, the minute I convinced 10 employers or like 20 employers, I realized, okay, that the first employer doesn't want to actually hold their ad on our system any longer because they already filled the gap. They already found the engineer. And I know it was even before I started actually growing, like working on the community to actually look at the website and actually refer other people. So then we realized it's a bad idea. And then over time, after the third pivot, we came to the sort of software as a service model.
Okay, so I want to give people an example. Let's say I'm an AI engineer and I'm looking for a job. Say I apply through your website. How it's gonna look like?
Basically, if you're an AI engineer and you apply, let's move it slightly, and you apply directly on the website and the employer. Let's say it's a company called 11 Labs.
Okay.
11 Labs right now, same as Revolut, they receive enormous amount of applications every single day. And so the only way for them to differentiate you from other applicants is to use, they're using their applicant tracking system, ATS, to, and they use AI that is inbuilt in the ATS to scan for your resume and either get rid of your resume because the keywords found in the resume does not match the keywords that are required by the hiring team, or basically indeed take you into consideration and put you on the short list. So what we came up with is the AI interview, and as a matter of fact, AI interview is being conducted by many other ATS systems. They have already built that in, etc. But what we fetch from our AI interview is way more data points that typical interviews. So you do that like 12 minutes. So basically, the minute you apply to 11 Labs, after 2 minutes or 3 minutes, our engine sends you a link via text message, SMS, and email with a link to actually initiate the call. You can initiate the call at any time at your convenience over the phone. And you take that phone call, it takes 10 to 12, maybe 30 minutes, depending on how you speak with the AI bot. And after that call, we then create your ideal candidate profile fit, which is, in our view, replacement of the CV, of the resume, as we all know today. And it creates like a profile that is based on the analysis of your voice, analysis of the transcription, plus voice analysis, transcription analysis, LinkedIn analysis, resume analysis, and you can also point to your friend or colleague who actually worked with you in the last job to actually increase your credibility in front of the employer. And all of that data points we then take to our ICPF, ideal candidate profile fit, and that sort of panel we then present to the employer. So employer, essentially, the hiring manager, instead of having only your resume, they have a whole bunch of information they can use. And next to it, there is like an input, same as on Perplexity or Gemini, which you can speak to our JobRef AI and to actually pull a subjective opinion of the candidate, or sometimes even objective opinion about that candidate. So you can ask, for whatever we are not presenting on the ICPF, you can ask and dig deeper, talking with the LLM, but with a context of the whole conversation. So basically, the whole point was to basically make you get you seen by the hiring manager. Because imagine, guys, like these days, whenever you apply for a job, you are like, your application is one of the hundreds, thousands of other applicants. How the heck you can differentiate yourself? You have no ability to present yourself as other than CV. So the AI interview that can actually scale, that can actually work at scale, is the only possible, I would say, way to get you seen, because otherwise recruiters can only rely on the CV, on the resume with the keywords in it, and most likely these keywords are written by AI anyway.
Yeah, I know you have people using AI to build their CV and hiring managers using AI to eliminate those candidates.
That's the thing. It's a war AI against AI. It's like you want to get a job, right? And you wanna present yourself in the best possible way, and so you prompt ChatGPT to basically draft ideal resume.
So usually people, what they do is they give ChatGPT the job requirements, and then they give it their CV. Please adapt my CV to match the requirements.
Yeah.
How your company JobRef would deal with that such things?
The resume is only the entry point. So they indeed they supposed to submit their resume to the employer, and then the employer through the integration with JobRef ICPF through their ATS, applicant tracking system, we can trigger to actually send a text message and an email notification to notify that specific candidate and advising them, okay, listen, you applied for a job at 11 Labs as a machine learning engineer, but you can also increase your credibility by conducting 12 minutes AI call so that we can have more details about who you are and do not judge you based on your resume, but judge you on the real personality, what you're gonna say in the conversation. It's like us having interview today, like conversation. It's way more valuable rather than plain text.
Is it safe to say that what JobRef is doing is having all these data inputs from the candidate and the company, and then crafting this profile, and then enabling hiring managers to chat with that data to see if the candidate is really good for the job, good fit for the job or not?
The main reason behind that is that here's the thing, like the hiring managers, apparently 70% of their time typically is spent on screening and browsing through the huge pile of resumes. Yes.
70%?
Yes, 60-70%. Obviously, I tell you what though, like presumably every hiring manager may say, okay, I spent less or more or whatever, depending on how detailed they are. They might spend 30% up to 70%. The whole point is, the less time you spend, if you have a big pile of resumes, the more careful you're going to be selecting the appropriate candidate. The more time you're going to spend, ideal candidates, the more time you're going to spend on researching all these resumes, and then followed by conducting a real screening interview with the candidate, and they still use AI to take notes, because today what JobRef ICPF does is basically automates and make it autonomous to conduct AI interview with every candidate who wants to really get a job. If you don't want to get a job, you just send resumes, presumably to 100 other employers. But if you want to actually get a real job at 11 Labs, we highly encourage every individual to conduct 10, 12, whatever minutes AI call, because it's gonna give you way more credibility than plain resume submitted by any other person. And then yet the hiring managers will spend less time or same amount of time, but having much more data points data points to basically judge whether that person is a good fit to not even actually invite that person to the interview, but actually pass that person straight to the technical conversation, to technical interview. Imagine cutting that time that is required to conduct the first initial call with the hiring manager. Do you know, guys, what hiring manager asks that the developers? They ask, silly fucking questions, about, imagine, you're recruiting, for machine learning, or imagine you're recruiting for Node.js developers, that you need someone who actually is good at microservices architecture, who knows Nest and Mongo, and maybe, have some other, experiences as well, or technology stack. They have no fucking clue, and they're gonna conduct this 15 minutes call, and it doesn't have any fucking value. But if you take the AI can be prompted specifically for that role. So our AI actually ask Node.js developer different questions, front-end developer different questions, machine learning engineer different questions. It is already
it's
built.
custom built
It's
to
a
handle
custom,
the ideal
yes,
candidate.
and every employer can also customize the prompts, questions, etc. for their needs. But from day one, the voice, whoever, if you're gonna be applying for a job of automation QA engineer, and our AI will ask you different set of questions, the technical questions, than Node.js developer with the same understanding. That's what I'm saying. We can really verify whether this is a human being, because during the question, during the interview, we also ask how much is 34 by 87 times 87? AI will answer, but the human being will not answer. We also have other fraud checks, even so your LinkedIn profile is being validated by us. Your email address is being validated by us. Your telephone number that you are providing us to conduct the AI call with you is also being validated, whether it's a voice over IP, whether it's a normal mobile phone or landline or whatever. And we then actually score that risk and actually pass everything to the hiring manager. So the hiring manager has way more data to judge, to decide whether this is the right decision, because the biggest amount of money lost globally is because of the bad hires. No one's talking about it, but bad hires, that's the clue. And so our tool basically supposed to speed up the time that hiring manager requires to actually go through the big pile of CVs and get rid of accidentally getting rid of good developers and actually keeping with the bad developers, and still it requires him to actually conduct this bloody screening call. But with our tool, we can cut that time and we can speed it up. You're only gonna have a list of the best, of the real good people, because it's not only their CV, but it's also their LinkedIn that is matching their CV. It's also the context from the transcription of the call. It's a context of the voice analysis, and it's a context of eventually the person that vouched for you, your former colleague, which as a matter of fact is 5 minutes call. If you want to get a job at 11 Labs, think of yourself. You're gonna do your best to basically conduct this 12 minutes call, because it doesn't cost you anything. And eventually, if you worked with someone who can actually pass a good word about you, an engineer, not your sister, brother, or cousin, another engineer that actually worked with you for a year or two or whatever, it definitely adds a value, solid value to your application.
I understand. It's very amazing. Yeah, really. Your tool is the comprehensive suit for hiring managers. To cut time and to cut money and to get the best candidate ever.
And to improve and to build up credibility, because bear in mind, imagine the people that I've been hiring. Sometimes it's not about, even many times it's not about the competences of experience. It's because of the network power. So if I already had brilliant developers on my team, and if they actually reach out to me, referring a person they know very well and was a good person, obviously we had to conduct, we had to actually go our typical route and conduct the technical interviews and so on. But the most important point was that I trusted my employees. I was already convinced that I want to hire that person simply because of the relationship. So if you can actually refer someone and actually, another person that actually worked with you can vouch for you, that adds tremendous credibility to the person that you're going to hire. So it goes, everything goes along with it. Yeah. So experiences, everything that we conduct during the call. If there is additionally a person that actually vouches for you, someone that knows you, and someone, even though it's a colleague that actually wishes you all the best, it always actually improves your reputation.
You've hired hundreds of engineers. What kind of qualities the best engineers have in common?
So here's the thing. So I don't know whether you know, guys, but the CV resume is a really old document which I don't want to rely on. Apparently invented by Leonardo da Vinci, but the bottom line is I never really relied on heavily on CV and the resume. Basically,
Wow.
What I've been doing is I wanted to get to know the person. So to me, many times it was enough to look at LinkedIn profile. And if there was a recommendation by someone to do the first initial call, so I've been always hiring people based on my gut feeling and some specific questions that I've been asking. So, and I also asked many of the people that I hired who then become directors. I try to imagine myself whether I would like to work for such person if I would be their employee. As a matter of fact, it's not mine. It's from Mark Zuckerberg, and but I also agree with him because he was kind of. Looking and trying to find and hire people that he felt that he could work for them. And I think, as long as you feel that, okay, you kind of complement each other, that person knows something that you don't know. That was the thesis, for the right hire. Of course, all of these members had to conduct the technical interview with my directors, VP of engineers, or at the beginning just developers that I trusted. But ultimately the CV, the resume per se, was not necessarily the only the only thing that I was looking at. I was mainly trying to find during the conversation, the initial talk, like 15 minutes, when that person was presenting themselves to me with the qualifications, with their experiences, basically talking to the person. I think I kind of, most of the time I was relying on my gut feeling, whether that person is suitable. Within I tell you what though, I have a very good gut feeling, and therefore I was able to judge within 15-20 minutes call whether that person is a good fit for the team. Even though later on that person could not maybe pass the technical interview. Unfortunately, we had to pass with such candidate. But I trusted my initial gut feeling, and I have to say, even though I was sometimes not feeling super comfortable with specific team members, I was hiring them anyway because they proved they're very competent. But you're not going to believe it. But say 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 months later, we were getting rid of these individuals because they were bad they were having bad habits for us as a team. It was down to communication. It was down to the way how you work with other colleagues. It was down to the respect or lack of respect to other colleagues. And as a result, we had to fire such individuals. And it was happening, not that often, but it was happening. So there were some people saying about me, and also my former partner who said to me directly, like, Marek, I tell you what though, I wish I would have this attitude as you have, finding these individuals and building an amazing team spirit. I have a truly belief that it's all about the team members. It's all about the people that builds the company. Product is one of the sort of success factors, but behind that, it's a scalable and team that sits behind it, and it doesn't need to be necessarily a super big team. It's about, maybe at Flip we had maybe like 15-20 individuals, the greatest warriors at their field, were always fighting for good until the last minute, the last moment. They were, during these peaks with TikTok, we were getting 250,000 downloads. The whole app collapsed. And so we actually worked for like 7 days straight with maybe, we were sleeping maybe 5 hours every night maximum, and we had to rebuild the big chunk of the app from scratch to make it scalable. And I remember, and there were like a small group of the most loyal but also most competent people at the company. So even though we had at the time 150 members, I would say only 15, maybe 18 members were the best of the best. I used to call them like warriors, or like Armageddon team, that does impossible. And ultimately, I think whatever you build, even though if you are a big company, I also know very big companies like Uplovin, who were investing at the Series C, I think. And I remember when I actually talked with someone from their leadership team, they also emphasized the fact that there is a small group of like maybe 15, 20, 25 members team who is actually doing their best to make it achievable. Now today, Uplovin is like nearly $200 billion company valuation. Wow. And they have maybe, like on LinkedIn, they have, let's say, 1,000 engineers. But the reality is behind, the most important engineers, there's like maybe 20, 25. That's what I've heard, at least. I don't want to judge again because I don't know them personally, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't need a big team to build something extraordinary. It can actually beat Flip or whatever, and that's why I really admire, like I said, like I mentioned, 11 Labs, because I know when they most likely when they were starting, there were a small group of people, and I'm pretty sure they still keep the same core engineering team on the field, and they're the ones that are responsible, and they're the ones that actually should take all of the credits for who they are today.
And what do you think about work-life balance as a CTO? Have you ever had such thing?
If you want to build extraordinary company, you have to stop thinking about work-life balance. There is no such thing like work-life balance. Work-life balance is just for an employee.
Do you think you need to be obsessed?
You have to be obsessed, if like I tell you what, though, if you are an entrepreneur and you're building your own company, you forget about work-life balance, and most of the funders don't think this way. If you are a founding team member, one of these first 20 employees, you also cannot think work-life balance. None of us, at Flip had work-life balance. We were laughing at the people who actually expected it, but I'm not saying it's in a bad thing. Work-life balance is required. The thing is, myself, I sacrificed 6 years of my time. I didn't spend enough time as I would wish with the kids, with my wife, etc. someone else could actually say, well, and that's what happens. And yes, they're right, but you have to either, like, being conscious about it, like, sacrifice that work-life balance if you want to succeed. Unfortunately, it is the only way to build something, like, to think out of the box and, to succeed in tech. But other employees, yeah, they can do work-life balance. Apparently there is something like Scandinavian work-life balance, so which I had no idea. And one of I remember the candidates that was applying for a job, she asked me about this Scandinavian work-life balance. And I mean, again, like, I'm being honest with you. I don't believe the work-life balance, unfortunately, works in my situation, because it's very unorganized time. My day is unorganized in a sense where I also have, like, duties. I have 2 daughters, as you know, and so on. And my wife helps me a lot, helping me, like, with daily tasks, etc., taking care of our family and so on. Without her, I would not be able to pursue with Flip beforehand, and now with this new venture. But unfortunately, you have to sacrifice a lot of things, which you might regret in future, especially when things like Flip happens in my life. And it's something that I regret. But on the other hand, there was no other way to pursue with my dreams, and that thing didn't work out, and and then you have to find in yourself enough energy to start a new thing and start from scratch, because this is what I do right now. I'm starting from scratch, like 6 years ago, although I'm 6 years older. And it's very hard.
But 6 years ago, if you compare it to now, you are Marek with 6 years of experience. It's different.
Exactly.
You're a different type of person.
It's definitely different. It still requires a lot of courage. It still requires a lot of energy, efforts to build something out of nothing. Especially when you are like, I'm 44 years old. I'm actually turning in less than a couple of weeks 45 years old. Apparently, this is the best age as entrepreneur, as founder. But you judge me, and later I don't know whether it's gonna work out or not. It's the only thing that I'm conscious about, and what I'm thinking of is I basically keep going. You have to keep going. You have to believe in what you want to build and keep going. When you wake up, you just keep going. When you have to do the exercise, you keep going. You don't think about anything, because when you actually look at TikTok, Instagram, or LinkedIn is the actually worst network. I think you fucking looking at all these people that are succeeding, like, I did this unicorn, another unicorn, $10 billion, and a lot of people that actually never actually built a unicorn, and never really most likely build a unicorn, but they talk a lot about what they did, how successful they are, and you kind of feel like it's okay, because they can do that. But just for those founders like myself, it doesn't work this way. Like, when you watch it, you kind of you find it depressing, unfortunately. So to me, like, LinkedIn is full of crap, like, because a lot of people advertising whatever they do. Same as on LinkedIn, you basically show your fake life.
It's a fake life. Yeah,
it's a fucking fake life. I don't want to discredit a lot of entrepreneurs that indeed actually they're successful. I'm pretty sure they are successful. The bottom line is, if you are like, if you are starting and you are becoming entrepreneur, and you read about, I don't know, the list of VCs that is still finding leads for the I don't know the funding entrepreneurs who they want to invest, etc. And then you think, oh yeah, that's like that it might be me, like, because they still want to invest in two new ventures before end of the year. But you see like comments like 800 comments, and you then realize, fuck me, I'm gonna be one of them. There's no fucking way, like I think ultimately as a founder, what I would recommend to everyone is just, to focus whatever you build and focus on your thing. Don't read anything. Like, if you wanna read some articles, etc., then you go to, I don't know, TechCrunch, etc., something written by journalists, not by another funder, because it's gonna be depressing for you. You better focus on not finding money, not trying to raise capital for whatever you have, but instead you just focus on your product, develop it the best way you think, then commercialize it by finding first clients and start try to live out of it. And if you still need capital, then you can actually think of raising capital, but don't do it from day one, because it's going to kill you. And I think the money will come to you anyway. I mean, I'm just saying the VCs will reach out to you. The VCs were reaching out to me as well, like but too early, and I'm still too early. So they're gonna find you. They're gonna definitely reach out to you. But don't do it in the first place, because it's not gonna lead you anywhere. It's gonna be like it's gonna take months. What I would love to know before when I was starting JobRef, I would love to know if someone would actually tell me clearly, listen, if you wanna build a company and raise capital, you need to protect your assets and whatever you live out of for the next 12 months, for sure, that you don't have to work, you don't have to take any salary, and you have enough time to build a product, build some traction, and reach out to VCs. And reaching out to VCs will most likely take you at least 3, 6, up to even 9 months in this market.
Like everyone now is a founder thanks to AI. Do you think it's a good thing that AI allows different people to become a founder, to create something out of thin air, rapid development?
Sure. I mean, well, LinkedIn is still needed. I think it's although it became something similar to, I would say, Facebook, whereby people actually post things that are completely unrelated to work. But still, a vast majority of members post work-related items, but there is too much of the content. These days, it's so easy to basically build an AI company, say using like we talked before, Codex, Cloud, Code, Cursor, and bunch of other tools. It's very easy to build your own product, and I think essentially right now, like as we speak, presumably there will be multiple or hundreds of or dozens of engineering teams working on exactly the same product idea as I've got today. But I tell you what, though, it doesn't really matter, because if you look back, say in 2004, when Facebook was inventing, Mark Zuckerberg was inventing Facebook, built Facebook, and at the time there was, maybe you guys don't remember it, but there was Friendster, there was MySpace, and a bunch of other networks. And ultimately, somehow, Facebook made their own thing much more scalable, much bigger, and they were scaling and growing much faster than other platforms. And it happens with many businesses like that. And also that applies, same thing applies to AI businesses. Say, if you are like 25 years old founder or 30 years old founder, you can build something extraordinary. But there are low chances for that, because it depends. I mean, it's people like Mark Zuckerberg. There is not that many. It's like one of 100 million people, or even one of billion people.
Do you think it's the right time for him? it was just the right time, the right place, so he built Facebook.
I mean, he's a brilliant person. He's extraordinary person, that's for sure. Whether he was that person at the time, I mean, you always need a bit of luck, that's for sure. I think you have to be, you need to have a bit of luck. You need to have a great product. And you need to keep trying. And Facebook was, as far as I know, was not the first things that he invented. So I think the more things that you're gonna build along the way, over time, the more sort of detail-orientated person you become ultimately, and the more you learn. I think that's why the greatest founders. I'm talking about the founders who have solid experience, and they made plenty of mistakes in their life. They can build some sort of more stabilized company from, not necessarily from day one, but much quicker than a person who just turned 20, 25 years old. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying, like, they're competing with like millions of other entrepreneurs who tries the same thing. And definitely AI lower down the entry point to become a founder, to build your own product. So on one hand, I agree, like, it's an amazing time to build anything out of nothing. And if I would be, as a matter of fact, I am the founder, I'm actually willing to build another company, which will be happening probably, and we're gonna start within the next few weeks. It will be sort of agentic AI and AI company, but based on the agents. And we wanna build something that automates and make some specific thing autonomous and rely on agents only, to basically replace people that would be working individual on those tasks. And that's AI brings this power, which I'm fascinated with, and it sounds amazing. But on the other hand, though, you kind of feel like, the same thing as with TikTok, yeah? You are behind something that ultimately takes other people a job. And then you don't really think good about it, because imagine, like, your job or my job is to build something that automates and actually gives ability to one person to do the job of 10% or 5%, which ultimately for another entrepreneur business, it means that, okay, so I had, say, 5 roles like that, but now with AI, I only require 1 or 2. And so you're a business, so you think, okay, revenue, you want to be profitable, you want to generate revenue, you want to make better profit. And so to optimize your costs, you basically get rid of people. So it's the same thing as you would be working on the app, as I was at Flip. And the only job for you, well, one of the most important, if you will, is to actually gain these new visitors and make sure they're gonna stay for as much time as possible in the app. Yeah. So whether it's good or great, well, for adults maybe yes, but to entertain themselves. But for the kids, for teenagers, no, not really. And again, for AI, AI will vanish half of the jobs in IT. Whether it's going to happen in a year time, in 2 years, 5 years time, unfortunately, it's going to happen. Now, my job is to ultimately be part of it, which I have to admit I'm not happy about it. But on the other hand, though, I don't know anything else. I mean, I can't become a plumber, although, apparently I could be a good plumber in a sense of, like, if I would be good at it, but or make some money, or better money even than in IT. But ultimately, that's the only thing that I'm capable of doing. I'm inventing products, I'm building team's products, I'm using the latest technology. Now the latest technology is AI, the technology that can automate a lot of things, that makes you more productive. But the result of being more productive is that you need some of the resources that you used to use less. And that results with the layoffs in IT and tech and other sectors, other spaces.
Exactly. Let's say someone who's in his or her 40s, 50s, trying to reinvent himself in the age of AI and the rapid technological advancement. What kind of a mindset shift he needs to have?
I think the younger generation, definitely they should start using as soon as possible from tech, IT, the latest AI tools. And I'm not talking about chatting with ChatGPT and Perplexity and so on for the research. I'm talking about all of the AI tools, enabled tools. Every SaaS company today has an AI tool enabled, and we have to be confident and enough experience and comfortable using those tools. I'm talking about the amazing cloud work. The co-work, the cloud code. Even the cloud code does not require, I mean, it's a bit more technical, but does not require you to be an engineer. So I think inventing, automating things, that's something that can actually let your job let you keep the job. You cannot be a person that still your only job is to research and store all of this data in spreadsheet file, because today the cloud co-work can actually do it for you
in a matter of seconds.
In a matter of seconds, in a matter of minutes, can actually do the research, extensive research, and actually do the whole outcome of it, store as a nice designed, comprehensive slides, PowerPoint presentation, or Excel spreadsheet with advanced formulas. So today you have to think of using and utilizing those tools and familiarize yourself as much as you can. And I think I would definitely recommend that from older generation. But I have a feeling that older generation may be a little bit too slow consuming these new technologies, because again, like cloud co-work is the result of apparently it's written by cloud in cloud code within a matter of like 2 weeks. Imagine, like, like Cloud Anthropic is such a big company that they build cloud code, and then apparently that's what I watch on the YouTube. Yeah. Like I've heard this 2 weeks time frame. I mean, this is crazy thinking. Like you can actually build another solution tool that can be used within like weeks by millions of people, or at least thousands of people, and you actually build it with another AI tool that automated the whole the whole build. I'm talking about coding it by yourself. So yeah, we are like we are here, and we only can actually observe it. But the people that actually gonna win that sort of war, if you will, against everyone else is the people that actually that will keep going and try to adapt to new reality. You have to think of yourself, okay, these were the competences and experience I gained throughout the years, and the competences that I used to know and used to have up until 2025. 2026 is different. 2026 and further is the time when you're actually gonna have to learn a lot of new things again, and you're gonna have to leave your comfort zone, unfortunately, and do anything that is possible to familiarize yourself with all of these techniques, because this is evolving, and this is evolving like every single day, every week, every month. There is something new to learn and I think you have to be like eager to learn. Basically, what I would recommend to anyone, I would say, listen, you have to be eager to learn. You just keep going, don't stop. That's what I would recommend, and that's what I was always looking to trying to find the right candidates. That actually comes back to to my theory about JobRef and why we do this AI call, because only this way you can catch way more information about the candidate, about specific human being, rather than relying on something that was invented by Da Vinci. And but another thing is, though, during this AI call, you can basically distinguish a person that knows something with a person that is not necessarily knowledgeable, but has is very eager and have a big appetite to learn things. If I am a entrepreneur and I'm looking for a developer, I may not necessarily look for a super greatest, very expensive engineer to hire. I can actually find a person that is fast learner and can actually learn very fast and do vibe coding to actually release my bloody MVP, because I don't give a fuck. I want to spend as less money as possible just to build a product, commercialize it and start making money and traction, at least, right? To actually gain some investors' attention and raise capital. That's the only thing. So now, who's going to win that race? Is it going to be a super experienced engineer, or is it going to be actually even a product designer who knows what, because he was studying it and knows how he can replicate a product that was very successful in the US, move it to European market, do this whole own thing in Cursor with his own design vision, and he can actually be more successful than 10 other engineers trying to replicate the same thing in their IDE. Because they're going to be much slower. And the product designers, in my view, and typical entrepreneurs, there may not even be technical entrepreneurs, they might succeed the race because they're going to be using any possible tool that will actually let them to reach their goals. Whereas other people, I'm not saying engineers are lazy. I'm just saying you cannot be lazy if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna build something, if you're gonna build your career, if you wanna get a pay rise end of this year at Christmas in 2026. Do your things more productive. Show to your employer that you can actually use this all latest technology to be more productive. Because only lazy bastards, unfortunately, and there are always going to be people like that, they're going to keep staring at the mirror and say, oh my God, AI takes my job. What the fuck, So you're going to have to familiarize yourself to actually hold this job. You have to do it for yourself.
You need to adapt. That's the key.
Yes.
You need to adapt, and
you need to adapt yourself.
Otherwise, you're gonna be left behind. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So now let's shift to your time in the UK. You lived in the UK for some time.
Yeah.
So, and you worked there also for Vice Media, I think. And GTI.
Yeah.
So what kind of differences between working in the UK and Poland or the US?
We're just going to compare, UK and Poland, because again, yes, I did move to UK back in 2025. I lived there for 10 years, and there's I would say it used to be uncomparable. You can't in the past you were not able to compare these two territories, because UK is still in my heart, and I love UK. I love returning back to London, and as a matter of fact, we still travel with the whole family like 3-4 times a year to London.
Wow.
And I still have JobRef is registered in London, and that's where my, let's say, my heart belongs. But there is tremendous difference between UK and Poland in a sense of the attitude, the way how you work, the you're like you're more open-minded, if you will, but not necessarily. Today Poland and UK is like equal, or I would say even better than UK. But in the past, back in 2025, the mindset was completely different, and so it was easier to build products out from the UK. It was easier to actually acquire first customers in the UK. It was easier initially to find me a job in the UK. As a matter of fact, I'm 44 years today, and I never worked for a Polish employer, a company, never in my life, never. And I actually only had once experience working with as a company with a client in Poland, and I regret it. So the reality is that for the whole of my life I've been working for the clients for either UK, US, or you name it, like from any other location aside from Poland. I think it's a matter of mindset. But over time, of course, a lot has changed. And bear in mind, like I only can compare my life when I was in Poznań, when today we are still here, but like back in 2005, I was also comparing, so Poznań to London, and then if you would actually take Warsaw to London, then again I think it would be comparable. Today, living in Poland and inventing products and building companies from Poland, maybe not necessarily in line with the Polish law, etc. I'm talking about the way how you incorporate business here, the taxation, and ZUS, the insurance, etc. This is not necessarily great to convince building businesses in Poland for entrepreneurs, but aside from that, we have amazing engineers. We have absolutely amazing software developers, designers, product designers, other team members to basically adapt to businesses that actually grow fast, can actually be recognizable as global businesses like Flip. I think this is the great example of building either Flip today, 11 Labs, or many other brilliant startups out of Poland. And I don't really think it's so different between either UK, US, and Poland. If you would actually also look at the US market, and either Los Angeles, where I used to live, or San Francisco, it's definitely good for the funders to stay there because you're close to the network of the VCs and so on, and it's more likely that you can actually get well funded in San Francisco or staying in the US rather than in Europe, that's for sure. But in terms of talents that are behind any startup or scale up, there is no difference in my view. Like that either you have brilliant developers both in US, UK, and across the globe, working either from Poland or they're Polish citizens, and even yourself, your nation, and other nations. I think they find themselves very well, very good working in the US companies. The only downside of it is like 11 Labs today is not a Polish company. It's a company founded by Polish founders. Flip was not a Polish company per se. It is a US headquartered company. Klarna, the company from Sweden, it's Swedish US type of business, but founded by a Polish guy as well.
Wow.
Snowflake, one of the founders of Snowflake, is Polish. I have to admit, it's like talent-wise, we have amazing talent in Poland. But the reason why they are not being funded and headquartered in Poland is one of the reasons is because of the Polish law, taxes, but also a reach to US capital, because no doubt US has the biggest capital in the world, aside from maybe a few other countries like Saudi Arabia maybe, but they also risk a lot. They're willing to take much bigger risks than European VCs and definitely Polish VCs.
Yeah. I think Polish people are so, let's say, they take their time. They don't risk it all, like because in the US he can risk everything just for a simple idea.
Yes, but I also understand that because European market or Polish market from a VC perspective is much smaller. It's a completely different scale to a US market. US market is way more mature, and their venture capital VC firms. These are the firms that actually can take a significant risk. But again, there is a lot of capital and a lot of capital in the US in comparison to the small Polish market. Still Polish from that perspective, and I wish at some point this market will be growing and will be becoming more and more mature. But there is behind that there is the whole history of Poland and the European market. So I'm not surprised that it works this way. I'm just saying it's a shame that we cannot compete yet with these big boys from America or Saudi, etc. And maybe we're never going to be able to beat them from that perspective. But at least, again, we have truly amazing talents that we can be very, very proud of. So that's my take on it.
So after being for so long in the high level tech industry, has your definition of wealth changed from before you started till you got to taste wealth?
Yeah, I mean, I would not call myself like a wealthy person at all whatsoever, because as you know, I lost everything, and I failed. You have to get up and again keep going and start from scratch. Now, the definition of wealth, I tell you what though, like it's hard to say. I think what I would say to me, to myself, and to other entrepreneurs, whether the young people, etc. You first have to actually pursue with your dreams and try to make it happen. You cannot focus. Your main focus cannot be on wealth to start with. It has to be on the product, what you build, the service, your team, whatever. It has to be focused on something that you pursue to build, that you believe in. And then the money will come later. You don't even have to now it's easier for me to say that, but I think what I would recommend to everyone is not to focus on getting capital, etc. Try to build your own company product by yourself for as long as you can, and then raise capital if you really have to. And everyone else who's really experienced will tell you exactly the same thing. It's nothing new. But what I would also say is that wealth will come if you're good at it. The wealth will come. You're gonna be wealthy ultimately, because you're gonna require like a lot of efforts into building something. You're gonna have to be focused on product and keep going towards achieving your goals, whatever that is, in terms of completing product and getting traction right. And then money will come either as a revenue from the first customers. So you're making it as a profitable business, or if you're building it for scale, and this will also showcase over coming weeks, months for every entrepreneur. Then you realize, okay, we need capital, because that's the only way to scale it up and reach out to a bigger community. And actually you realize, okay, the only way I can be profitable or start making any revenue is through raising more capital, because we need scale to achieve our goals. And that's even different story. So that's how it works, at least for me.
So you are of the opinion that you should always follow your passion, not the money?
Always. The money will come, that's for sure. The money will come either way. For any founder, what I would say you have to be prepared for is that, like the number of fails, like whether it's going to be 5 fails, 3 fails, like everyone says, so, oh, you failed, Marek, like 4 or 5 times. The 6th time will be, for sure will be good. Yeah, you never really know. Some people fail like 9 times, some people fail 30 times. I think the key thing is to not give up on your own dreams and on your own belief, no matter whoever gonna tell you, and how competitive market can be. Like, even though if there are like 50 other competitors, the market, as long as the market that you have chosen is big enough, you can actually fulfill your dreams. You can actually make it happen. Yeah, maybe it's not going to be unicorn, but if it's going to be company that's gonna generate a few $1,000,000 or $50 million or $100 million, actually at 100 million check, you can easily become a unicorn. But I think the bottom line is you have to pursue it with your dreams, and you have to do your thing. You have to be good at it, and you have to be very fast, and you have to leave your comfort zone, and you have to stop thinking about work-life balance, because it does not exist. You have to work like a donkey, and you have to make fun of yourself in front of other people. You have to fail as much time as you can handle, and at some point, if you're gonna continue, if you're gonna keep going, you will be successful. I'm not saying building a unicorn company. I'm just saying it's gonna be your efforts will result of getting to the point which you sort of wanted to get to. Either way, like I said, like whether the measure of that success is the revenue, the amount of money you're gonna make, the being wealthy, or maybe building a great team. The only thing that I can say is, yes, I lost everything that I've been working for like straight 6 years at Flip. And but I at least I gained a lot of experience, and I built strong relationships with the people that I trust, that I rely on. And today I still have a small bunch of people that I can definitely fully rely on. They're my closest friends, and I'm building with them next businesses. And I think that's what I'm very, very proud of. It's not money. It's the experience, and the relationship, the people I got to know.
Yeah, exactly. I can relate with this because I tried to build so many apps, but I don't enjoy the journey, because I always think, okay, I need to build this app and then I need to cash out. I never was passionate about it.
Yeah.
I built 2 apps here in Poland, then I didn't follow through because of what you said.
Yeah.
I wasn't passionate about it. I was passionate about selling it, cashing out.
Yeah.
That's the big problem.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
It doesn't happen like that. Yeah.
But it is like with every business. If you, I'll give you an example. Imagine like you open a restaurant, and you have enough money. You want to make an investment, and you open up the restaurant.
Yeah.
And you then you hire a manager that actually and the waiters, a good chef, and you come to this place twice a week. You just want to cash out. You just want to make money out of it. Yeah.
Passive income.
It's a passive income, but good side of it, as long as it's gonna work, it's a passive income, so you can generate money out of it. But on the other hand side, though, if you just let other people to manage your business, to do everything for yourself, and you're not gonna even come to the restaurant and say and welcome new guests. You're not going to even come and taste the food. You're not even come because maybe do some. You're going to work for a few hours as a waiter, or maybe you're going to work for a few hours as a chef because you like cooking. You're not going to be successful. You can if you want to keep it going, and if you want to know the business inside out, you have to be part of it. You have to be fully hands-on, either this way or that way. I'm not saying you should be cooking. I'm not saying you should be, but at least you should be welcoming guests, because that way you build the credibility and reputation, and the person, and you also build the retention. So people come back to you.
Yeah.
They come and they actually you welcome them once. If the success of your restaurant is not only the chef and the food, but also the service. They need to actually serve you well, and also the owner, presumably, who's going to welcome, I'm thinking of a small place, of course, who's going to welcome the guests and say, oh yeah, that's great, you came along again, feel free to, you know, come to us, you know, or maybe you want to, for your birthday of your daughter, maybe you're going to come and, you know, enjoy that time with us at our place. And that's how you actually build the relationship. And that's how you're supposed to build the relationship at your business, with your colleagues, with your employees. Do not judge them as an employees. You judge them not as a friends, of course, but always respect people, always respect that, you know, at any stage. That's what I've been doing. And this is why, you know, I say we built amazing company as Flip. We failed. It happens. We tried. But I think, you know, the bottom line is, if you are a serious entrepreneur, you never give up. You cannot give up because of that. You have to keep going. And you're right. I gained a lot of experience, and now I believe, you know, I can do certain things much faster. I can predict further steps because behind me, you know, I got like 25 years of experience. I say, well, fuck me, you know, it's not going to work this way, you know, like, you know, no one is actually, I still make mistakes. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, you know, you kind of minimize the amount of mistakes that you can actually make along the way.
Exactly, Marek. So once everything is said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I would love to be remembered as you know, as a good person. You know, that's it. I don't think of myself as, you know, I don't want anyone to write books about me. You know, I think I would like to be remembered as a good person who has a lot of empathy to other people, who appreciates the hard work and the friendship we build over time. And simple as that, you know, what we build, you know, like companies, businesses, etc. We fulfill our dreams. You know, I'm a bit of workaholic, I have to admit, and you know, that's what I do. And you know, vast majority of my time I spend at work. Yes. And that's what I love about it. But thing that I truly love is my family, my daughters, my wife, or I should say my wife and my daughters, but equally. And that's what you know, that's what makes me really you know, strong and, you know, ready for any challenge on a daily basis. But if you ask me this way, like honestly, like I don't have any like expectations. I just want to be remembered as a, you know, good person that never actually fucked up any relationship, etc., and was never actually tried to use anyone against another person. And simple principles as that. I don't want to be remembered by the business or something I built. I'm not going to be Steve Jobs. I do not have aspirations to become a Steve Jobs. I'm trying to be the best person I can, and use this my attitude to find ideal personalities that can actually work along with me. And so I can convince them to pursue our dreams and build something, and keep trying to build something successful. That's it.
That's really amazing, Marek. That's a beautiful note to end with. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.